Hello everybody and welcome back to Cooking with Grandma. Today I'm going to be making some fudge cupcakes. This is a recipe that's passed down from my mom, her mother, and then to her, and then to me. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try this new, I've often made for my kids, you pour the cupcake batter into ice cream cones. I've made those lots of times, but what I always did is put them on a cookie sheet or in a muffin pan and very gently put them in the oven so they didn't tip over and spill. But what my kids gave me for Christmas was this silicone cupcake cake or ice cream cupcake holder. So what I'm going to try an experiment that makes 6 cupcakes. So in 3 of them I'm going to put it in the ice cream cones. And in the other 3, I'm going to leave them empty and just put the batter and see if it gets the texture. If it'll come out, it'll slide out. I'm going to spray those 3 with some cooking spray. Just so I know it's silicone and it shouldn't stick, but I'm just going to have that extra assurance that they'll pop right out. I just want to see the difference. If you need, on the picture on the packaging that it came with, it shows the cupcake or the ice cream cones in there. So it doesn't say you don't have to use them. So I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. So I'm going to set these guys aside over here for now, and we'll get our cupcakes going. You can use a box recipe for this, easy. You know, it's nothing wrong with that. I don't happen to have one, and I don't want to go to the stores. Seeing that we're in lockdown, I go out as very little as I have to. So we're going to use a homemade recipe. So for this we need 1/2 of a cup of shortening. The shortening can be butter, it can be real butter, it can be margarine, it can be not oil. You don't want oil. In this case you do want like a butter type thing. I just use the soft margarine. I don't buy butter. Okay, so we're going to put 1/2 cup in there. There we go. And because we need to cream together the shortening, the sugar, and the egg. So we need 1 cup of sugar. Down in there in my canister. Sugar, and I finally got my oval. My daughter gave me these for my birthday. They're oval shaped, it's like a scoop shape, so they fit pretty well into my canisters that I have. The ones I had before, they couldn't fit in there, or I had to use a small one and just measure extra. And we need 1 egg. You more than likely will need your mixer for this. You mix it by hand, but it's going to be a little tricky. Cake batter needs to be nice and smooth. I'm going to do the shortening or the creaming this together by hand, and when I add all the other ingredients I will probably use the mixer. See how it goes. Got a big chunk of sugar there, get rid of that. And these are pretty easy. So we cream the shortening, the sugar, and the egg together, and then we're going to add the vanilla and mix that in. And we have to get another bowl. We need to combine your dry ingredients and add alternately with the milk, mixing well. So now I'm going to put my vanilla, which is 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and I'll mix that in. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. It's not hard to make a homemade cake. Cupcakes, muffins, it's more convenient having a box mix because it's quicker, and they do taste all right. I've used them lots, but it's not really that much harder. And if you just fill up your pantry with the basics, the flour, the sugar, the baking powder, baking soda, cocoa powder, vanilla, and you have butter and you have milk and eggs, that's it. That's all you need. Keep your pantry stocked up and you can make them. So I'm going to scooch this bowl over, and this one I'm going to put my dry ingredients in. I need 1.5 cups of flour. So, 1 1/2. Where's my 1/2 cup? Oh, I used that for the, okay. I used one of my 1/2 cup measuring cups for the milk because I had to make it into sour milk. I'll explain that to you in a minute. And I used the other one for the butter, so I just used that one again. Okay, flour, 1/2 cup of cocoa. 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. And 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm kind of surprised that this doesn't call for baking powder, because baking powder is what makes your cakes rise. But, you know, this was an old recipe, and baking powder and things like that were hard to get. So, you know, you just, I don't know, 1 teaspoon of baking soda goes in. They didn't have all that kind of stuff. Okay. Alright, so we got the flour, cocoa, baking soda, and salt. Give that a stir. It doesn't matter if you use the same spoon. Instead of dirty another one, you're going to use this one again anyway. And what you want to do is add this alternately, 1/2 and 1/2, like a little bit at a time, to your egg and butter mixture. And now it calls for 1/2 cup of buttermilk, sour milk, or plain yogurt. I gotta boil my water here. While I'm doing this, I'll boil the water. If you don't, I don't like cooking, I don't like yogurt, so I won't even cook with it because you probably can't taste it, but to me I can. I can't do yogurt. I'm one of those things. So and I don't have any buttermilk on hand, so what you do is you take measure out your milk and you put a tablespoon of vinegar in it. And that's going to make you sour milk or buttermilk. It's going to be the same thing. So while my water is boiling, because let's see, alternate with milk, then you stir in the boiling water. So I'm going to do this while the water is boiling. I had forgotten to put the water on the boil. So we're going to put probably 1/2 of this mixture in. You always want to end up with your wet. So you put dry, wet, dry, and wet. You always want to end up with your wet as your last ingredient so it gets nice and creamy. Let me just see how far I can get here by mixing it by hand. My mixer is a little loud, so it might be. This is coming out really, really creamy. There we go. Okay, might not need the mixer after all. And I'm going to put the milk in, 1/2 of the milk. And it's really gross because it's all clumpy now, like it's definitely sour milk. That's yucky. But it's going to be baked, so you're not going to taste the sour milk. Okay, that's mixing up very, very nicely. And the rest of the flour and baking soda and cocoa mixture. Cake mixes you want to mix so they're nice and smooth. Muffin mixes, you might have a few lumps, but that's okay. You don't want to overmix muffins. Cakes, you want them perfectly smooth and creamy. And this is getting a little tricky to mix, but I still have to put some more milk in it, so it'll be alright. Oh yeah, easy. I don't need the mixer at all. This is perfect. And we're going to put the rest of our milk in. Looking good, nice and creamy and chocolatey. You see that? Look at how nice and creamy that looks. Nice and shiny and creamy and chocolatey. We're going to mix this a little bit. My water's almost boiled. And we need 1/2 cup of boiling water. I never understood the reasoning behind putting boiling water into a cake mix, but my mother explained to me that it enhances the chocolate flavor. So, okay, Mom, you've been cooking a lot longer than I have. I'll go by that. Okay, now 1/2 cup of boiling water. I'm going to put that in. There we go. Mix that up. And this is also going to add to the creaminess of it because it's more liquid. Just very gently because you don't want it to splash. that all smooth. You don't want any puddles of water and clumps of batter. You want it nice and smooth and creamy. So you can pour it right into your cake pans. Or, I mean, this can be made into a small cake. You don't have to use it. It was a cupcake recipe, but you can make an 8-inch cake out of it. Or you can just, you know, make it into cupcakes, whatever, whichever. My kids always liked, they thought it was fun when I made the cupcakes in the ice cream cones. I know I did it for one of my daughter's birthday parties the one time, and the kids thought that was hysterical. They just never had seen such a thing. So there we go. Look at, no mixer required. Nice and creamy and nice, perfect. That's exactly what you want to look for. So now I'm going to get my mold. We're going to just try it and see if it works without the ice cream cups. So then when you want to fill these, obviously muffin tins, you bake for 350 for 25 minutes. This is supposed to make 1.5 dozens. So we'll see how much it actually makes. I'm going to get my smaller, I was going to use my ladle to scoop it out, but I think I need the smaller one. So, alright, we're going to try both. In goes into the cupcake, or the ice cream cone. You want to make sure you give it a little tap and get it right down to the bottom of the cone, so it fills up the whole thing. And it's going to rise up and it's going to, you know, go over. There's the one. I mean, this is like so easy. It's nothing to it. You can whip up a batch of cupcakes, you know, for dessert, or like for a little after school snack when the kids get home, or nowadays after they're done online, because most kids are homeschooling it. There are still, I mean, right now no schools are open. I don't think that they're open until the end of the week, I believe. I'm not sure. They might change that. I don't know. My grandsons are all homeschooling for the whole rest of the year, so we're not even worried about whether they're open or not. Now I'm going to put these in the molds themselves and see if it'll actually work and if it'll come out. I've never had these molds, so I'm not sure how they, if it's meant to do this, or if you're supposed, it's just a thing to hold the ice cream cones. I'm thinking that's what it is, but I'm going to experiment a little bit. I mean, if it doesn't work, then you know what, you can have some just little pieces of chocolate cake, right? And this is not going to make 1.5 dozens, only because these are bigger and I'm using more batter than I would normally use. So, alright, oopsie, one tipped over. Now get back up there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put these guys in the oven. Go. Oopsie, they went right through. Well, I think I'm going to have to put them on a cookie sheet and then in there, because those little, sorry for the noise, the little ends of them, the little bottoms of the cups here, went right through my oven grate, so there, I'll put them on the cookie sheet. Okay, and now they have to bake for about 25 minutes. I'm going to set it at 20 and just, you know, check it. So for the rest of these, I'm going to fill up the rest of the cones, some more cones, and when they're done, I'll throw those in the oven. I could put them in like my muffin tin and go ahead and put them in. We'll see. I might even do that just to get them all done at once. This is going to make roughly 9, because I'm making, you know, they take up more batter than you would just for little cupcakes. So you can double it, you know, try the recipe, and you can double it if you like, and triple it, whatever you need to. Now, if I was making a bigger batch for like a party or something, I would double the recipe and maybe make, you know, 2 batches. I'm not sure how Depends on how many you need, right? Okay. This last one. Well, I might be able to get 4 ones out of here. Yeah, I'll get one more. Hang on 1 second. Back over to my cupboard and get another sleeve of ice cream cones. 6. So this will make 10. That's not bad. You know, a normal cupcake recipe makes, you know, a dozen cupcakes or so. This says it makes a dozen and a half. And so, you know, depends on how big you want, how much batter you put in each one, right? But I will get 10 for sure. Just pull that out of there. Okay. Now I'm going to get my muffin tin out. And I'm going to put these in, instead of just on a cookie sheet, if you put them in a muffin tin, they stand up better. I'm going to space them. And if you ever use a muffin tin and you don't fill up all the spaces, if you don't have enough muffins, you want to put a little bit of water in each of your empty ones, so then your pan doesn't burn. I'm going to slide these into the oven right next to my molds and bake them all at once. I mean, it's been in a couple of minutes, so I might have to add a couple of minutes baking time to that one, but that's all right. Just going to move that one over to space them, but I realized there was water in there. Okay, so there we go. And I will see you back here in 20 minutes and show you how they look. Alrighty, my cupcakes are baked and out of the oven. This is how they look in the ice cream cones. Each one is a little bit different, which is pretty cool. They look, you know, because you never use scoop out ice cream, you never get the same identical thing. Now these you just let cool and just frost as you normally would, or just eat them like that, whatever your preference is. Now for the ones that were in the molds without the cones, it didn't really come out well. I mean, they come out, it's the bottom of them broke, which you could always just put back together with a little frosting, but they don't stand up. Boom, over they go. So, you know, you got a chocolate top, cupcake top. You don't have the bottom to it. All 3 of them did the same thing. They came out of the mold perfectly, except that they broke. Maybe it might have been because I took them out when they were still hot. I'm not sure. But either way, they're not going to stand up. It's going to topple over. It's not, the base isn't big enough to stand up. So there you have it. My new mold that I made, that I had for my birthday, works very well with the cones, not so well without the cones. So go ahead and try it and see what you think. Leave me a comment below and how yours come out, and what you thought of them, and if you're going to try it. If there's anything you want to see me make, sweet or savory, leave it in the comments below, and I check my comments regularly, and I will get back to you, and I will definitely make if I have the ingredients, I will make everything I can that you request. So I hope everybody stays safe, stay home, wash your hands, sanitize, and keep baking. Until next time, bye now.